Welcome back to the channel here. Today we're going to show off one of the nicest clone PWK or flat slide carburetors I've ever seen personally. If you know of a better one, please leave a comment with a link. I would like to see it. I've bought a lot of these clone carburetors from China, off of Amazon, AliExpress, Alibaba, every other outlet that allows you to purchase directly from China. And when this one showed up yesterday, I wasn't expecting much, since I've seen plenty of them. There's normally a bunch of imperfections in the castings. All in here there's nicks. The throttle valve, or as most of you will refer to it as the slide itself, is normally all pitted and nicked and needs polished. Well, we're going to get into all that. So when this one shows up, this is the box it comes in. Yes, they even cloned the box correctly. You see the Keihin logo, you see the Sudco logo. And they did a really good job down to even the box it comes in. Now, moving on from the box, because obviously a box don't get you nowhere. I could care less if it came in a bag. Let's start with the top. So, you have your adjuster. Now, this is going to come turned all the way down. You'll have a little rubber nipple over top of it. You may not even know it's adjustable, which may lead you to have a problem whenever you go to set up the carburetor, because you'll go to drop it in, you'll hook up your cable, you'll start your bike up, and it'll be revving out somewhere off in the RPM range, and no matter how far you turn down the idle, it's not going to come down to idle. And that's because your slide isn't seated properly. So this required, let me see, this was a 10 millimeter for the lock nut, and it was a 7 millimeter for the top. If you find that no matter how far you turn this down, your slide still won't seat all the way down into the carburetor, that's okay, not a big deal. You can take this completely out. Take the nut itself off. Throw it off to the side. Put it back down in. There you go. You got about another 1/8 of an inch, which should allow the slide to seat completely. So they cloned that correctly. Set that off to the side now. That's no longer important. So as you can see, this carb is pretty well dismantled here. Reason being, I take everything apart here. I want to clean it with carbon choke cleaner. You could use brake parts cleaner. You could use pro alcohol. You can use whatever you like, as long as it doesn't leave residue behind. You can do whatever you want. You can see there's a residue on the float. That's gasoline. These carburetors have actually been tested prior to being sent to you, unlike 99.9% of every other Chinese clone carb I have ever purchased. And I'm going to put this one in about the 99th percentile as far as quality. I mean, they nailed it. All over the carb, you'll find quality control marks. You see the raised, curved Keihin logo, just like all the new body PWKs have. Around the back side, again, see the Keihin logo. They nailed it. Down inside of there, I have not polished this carb. I have not cleaned this carb yet. I wanted to show this carb exactly how it came. The throttle valve, or again the slide, whatever you want to call it, moves 100% smooth. There's very minimal play. Tiniest little bit of play up there. Even the genuine PWKs have a tiny little bit of play up there. Now, real quickly, PWK carburetors are very, very sought after because of how tunable they are. You can change the slide size itself, I believe between a number 3 to a number 7, number 8, number 9. I think they go from 3 to 9, from lean to rich, depending on what you're looking for. Out of the box, this one does not have a number stamped on it right here, but comparing it to another carburetor, I believe this to be a number 7 slide. I haven't had a chance to mic them side by side and check, but I believe it to be a number 7 slide. Your needle jets. You can buy hundreds of these with different diameters, tapers, to allow again for maximum tunability, for lean, rich, etc., etc. For your average person setting up their bike, the slide that comes with this carb, the needle jet that comes with this carb is going to be perfectly fine. You're not going to have to run out and buy new needles, new slides, all that good stuff. Another issue in the past with these ones that come with a clear bowl has been they leak because you can't crank them down tight enough. They've again fixed that. Now they have an anodized metal ring that goes in between the carb body and the float bowl. That way you can tighten it down and it does not leak. Going a little further into the carb, flip this around here. I don't want my float to fall out. You have your power jet. This gives you a squirt of gas whenever you get on the throttle. That way you don't have a lean condition when you're going into the throttle. If you ever put a bike on a dyno or anything else that's carbureted on a dyno, you will see that the air-fuel ratio has a lean point in the beginning when it goes to start. That's where a pumper carb or a power jet carb really shines. This is adjustable. I cannot tell you where you want to adjust it, just like I cannot tell you how you would like to jet your bike. If you would like to leave me a comment about how your bike is set up, what size motor you have, what modifications you have done to it, I can help you get a baseline together that would be safe to start with, to do some plug chops and see if you're lean, rich, or optimal. They did a really nice job on this carb. Again, another huge issue with these clone carburetors. A lot of guys are buying PZ30 or VM26 clones, and they say, well, I have a 30mm carburetor on my bike. You don't. take a micrometer and you mic it, you're going to find that your clone PZ30, your clone VM26 is really a 26 millimeter carb. .9 millimeters. 32. There you go. And this is a PWK 32. So this one is true to size at 32 millimeters. If you mic your clone carburetor, you're not going to find it's a 28, a 30, a 32. It's not. Flip this back over. I mean, they nailed this clone down to, you can see right in there on both sides. You see the security Torx. That allows you to take the whole body, well, the inner body, off of the main shell of the carburetor. Exactly like a real PWK does. Even the fuel inlet size is correct to a genuine. And they really did an impressive job here cloning this carburetor. Out of the box, float height is set pretty well. I'm not going to adjust it. I'm actually going to run it that way, and I may come back and make a tiny little adjustment to it, but that's pretty good right out of the box. Moving on, you have your emulsion tube here, which I did not find any blockage in any of the, let me get it to focus here, in any of the holes here on the side of the emulsion tube that allow for vacuum to aid in pulling the gas up from the main jet. Even though, again, this is something I always say, it just takes a second. I don't care if it's new, if it's old, just take 1 second to take a strand of copper and run it through each and every passageway to make sure there's nothing in there. There could be a little burr of metal, there could be a speck of dirt. It could not be drilled properly because it's from China and it costs $38 instead of $300. I don't know. This one again showed up with a 125 main, which is just about what I need for my bike, and a 38 Pilot, which is just about what I need for my bike. Now, if you're coming from a PZ30 carb, a VM26, you'll notice that these jets are completely different. You will need a jet kit. These are not your standard mains like this. So you need a PWK jet kit. These are referred to as hex head jets. I call these a button head. And this one is a 105. Let me put that back in the right spot on the kit. If you need jets, which I do always recommend you buy a jet kit because, like I just said, mine has a 125 for the main and a 38 for the slow jet, or pilot jet, or cold start jet, or primary jet, or whatever it is that you like to refer to it as. Most people call them pilots. Pilot, primary, tomato, tomato. Nobody's wrong, nobody's right. It's all the same thing. If you need a jet kit, I'm going to include one in the description. This is the jet kit I have here. You have all sizes from, I believe, a 100 flow rate up to a 140 or a 150 flow rate. Do not quote me on that last part. I don't remember if this ends at 140 or 150. Then they have one that picks up from where this one ends all the way up to 200, just in case you need a larger jet kit. Like I said, all in all, this was a $38 gamble, which I didn't really expect much. I bought 3 or 4 of these already in the attempts to use a flat slide on my bike, and was sadly disappointed whenever they showed up, because boy were they garbage. There was so much pitting, there were so many imperfections in the casting that I would have probably had fuel bypassing the emulsion tube and just raw unmetered fuel headed directly into the carburetor body, mixing with the air coming in through the air inlet, and my air fuel ratio would have been 45 to 1 instead of an optimal 13.5 to 1, 14 to 1. I can't really tell you what your optimal fuel ratio is, because that depends on what you're doing. For economy, somewhere around 12.5 to 1, 14 to 1, somewhere in there. Depends what you're doing. If you're racing, you want to be a little leaner, making max power. If you burn up your piston rings, burn up something in your motor, it doesn't matter. You won the race. Too bad. You'll fix it when you're done. Trophy's a trophy. If you're running in the woods, you may want to be a little bit on the richer side. That's on you. But like I said, this is my review of an extremely amazing $38 clone of a $300 PWK carburetor that is very well sought after due to how finely you can tune them. You know, you can tune a round slide carb pretty good too, but a round slide carb is different. So you have your typical round slide carbs. Some people like them, some people don't. I prefer a flat slide, and I prefer a flat slide with a power jet, because I like instant throttle response. I like torque over speed. Even though these will still give you the same speed, you can set them up. I like the instantaneous power when you rip right on the throttle and it's there instantly. So if you're looking for a flat slide carb, 2 days ago I would have told you that the Keihin PWK is the king of the clones, but I'm gonna have to take the hat off of the Keihin here and give it to JFG Racing for putting out one absolutely amazing clone. Like I said, even down to the box. I mean, they nailed the box with the setup by Sudco. I mean, it's, if you didn't know any better, you would think it was a real carb. I know it's not genuine, but it's real close. You can swap Keihin genuine parts into this carburetor. You can swap these parts into your genuine Keihin carburetor if you needed to rebuild one. That's my 2 cents. Take it as you will. Thank you for watching. I hope this helps. All the links in the description you'll find for the carburetor itself, the jet kit, and the intake that I'm going to use to put this onto a CG250 motor. Hopefully this helps you out. If you're looking for a carburetor, please don't forget to give me a like, a subscribe, leave me a comment. If you love it, you hate Chinese carburetors. If you love Chinese carburetors, I'd still like to hear from you. It all helps my channel grow. That way others can see my videos and we can get this stuff out there. So, thank you again. Have a great day.